Scanning the available beers, my eyes come to rest on Knockout. That's the one for me. Addressing the barman, I ask for 2 bottles of Knockout and point them out on the shelf. But the guy grabs the beer to the right. I hold up my hand to stop him. No, sorry, the one next to those, waving my hand to the left. The barman's hand moves across to the left, past the bottles of Knockout, and grabs the beer to the left of them. I stop him again. No, look, there, Knockout, Knockout. All the beers are in double rows, and I lean over the bar to point them out. Knockout, there, look, there. The barman goes back to the beer on the right. No, Knockout, there, look. I lean further over the bar, another 18 inches or so, and I could touch the bottle, but the barman passes them again, veering back to the beer on the left. My feet are off the floor. I'm almost prone on the bar and pointing close enough to leave no room for ambiguity. Knockout, right there, Knockout, that one. Oh. But again, he bypasses the Knockout and gives me a puzzled look when I say no, again. The guy's a barman. This is his job. He does this every day. It's ridiculous. Open parentheses, off, close parentheses, license to scam. You see what I did there? Off, license to scam, off, license to scam. No, never mind. Off License to Scam by Phil Wingfield. As far as a beer is concerned, these days I don't drink much, or often. A year or more between beers is not unusual. I find that hangovers come easy, and I prefer to drive home rather than walk or pay a fortune to a council licensed highwayman. But for some reason, India changes all that. Maybe it's because I'm a free agent. I certainly don't drive anywhere. Taxis are dirt cheap, as is the beer. But I think it may have a lot to do with the advertisements, slogans and names of the beers. Although I'm sure they don't appeal to me in the way they were intended. The names and slogans used to advertise beer in India tickle me. I think the first popular Indian beer to hit the UK was Kingfisher. In India, Kingfisher had a little slogan on the bottleneck label that read, "Most thrilling chilled." I thought that was great. It's more quaint than funny, but I just loved it. In Rajasthan, they think that macho sells and have a beer called Bullet, available in super strong only. But my favourite has to be Knockout, a beer peculiar to Karnataka. The label on the bottle depicted 2 boxers, the victor, arm outstretched, having floored his opponent, depicted flat out on the canvas. The tableau was headed by the words, "Knockout, high punch beer." I liked the taste, but the first time I bought it, it was on the strength of the label, because I thought it was so funny. Talking of strength, when I first went to India in the latter half of the 1990s, the alcohol content of beer was presented as being within a range, as opposed to a precise number. I can't remember the exact figures as they varied by beer, but it went along the lines of alcoholic content not less than 2.75% and not more than 4.25%. I thought it was odd that they couldn't give the exact strength, but were able to define the upper and lower limits to 2 decimal places. Another advertising ploy is to incorporate numbers in the names. Beers of broadly similar strengths are given partially numeric names to convince the punters that one is better than the other. Hayward's 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. President 5,000. Cannon and Legend 10,000. The higher the number, the lack of any real difference for the most part. Now, if I were to try and break into this market, I would call my beer simply Crore. Crore, C-R-O-R-E, is the word for the number 10 million. I can imagine the advert as a close-up of a massive hand slamming the bottle down on the bar.
Crore, the biggest, the best.
Sadly, though, nothing lasts. Alcohol content now is a rather dull, precise number. If Kingfisher is still most thrilling chilled, we are no longer informed. And although Knockout is still high punch, the boxers have been retired. However, they still bite the bullet in Rajasthan, and I reckon would be a winner. And that was an overlong introduction to a short tale of buying a beer in India. Mysore, 19th of October 2015. I fancy a beer, but we've not seen any off-licences around the area near our hotel. Not that they are called off-licences. The Indian equivalent of our humble offie is usually called a wine shop. They vary from high-class, well-presented establishments with glass-fronted refrigerators and brightly lit display cabinets to ultra-basic and dingy shops, staffed by small groups of men in vests sitting amongst mounds of crates and boxes. Some wine shops are very security-conscious. The alcohol and staff sit behind bars and all transactions are conducted through small oblong hatches. I find this type very seedy and they conjure up images of Prohibition America. The variety of beverages on offer varies from state to state, and town to town, even shop to shop. But the one drink I have never seen in any of these places is wine. According to the staff, there is a wine shop some 500 metres down the road outside our hotel. They are sort of right on both counts. At a T-junction, a little further than 500 metres from our hotel, stands a building festooned with coloured lights, and above the entrance a neon tube forms the word bar. The interior doesn't appeal. It is dingy and crowded, and all the customers are male. It isn't that women aren't allowed, but it's rather an unwritten taboo. But even if that were not the case, few if any women would come to these places. And I wouldn't blame them. And it isn't because it's just men either. Alcohol, despite its widespread legality, there are still some dry states in India, carries a bit of a stigma. Going to a pub or a bar is not so common here as it is at home. Some of this premise has rubbed off on me as this place looks very uninviting, and at worst almost threatening. But I fancy a beer, so... After my judgment on the general atmosphere, the next thing I notice is the floor, which is a warm and welcoming bare cement. The ground floor is split into two main areas. A large, dimly lit room at the rear of the building reminds me of the old permit rooms. These were murky bars, usually housed in basements, where men sat alone hunched over glasses in the dark, hiding even from their fellow drinkers. There are a few tall tables, such as may go with bar stools, but no stools. The front section is much the same, but without the tables. The bar, however, is a much more cheery mass of glass shelves and mirrors lit by coloured bulbs or LEDs and stocked with a variety of beers. They sell bottles to take away, of which I am very grateful. But I can't shake this feeling of unease, as if all eyes are on us. I want to get this done and leave as quickly as possible. We wander up to the bar to see what they have, but before we get a chance to look, let alone ask, a lad in his mid-20s barges in and asks us what we want. We haven't even looked at the choice yet, and besides, we can manage, thank you. But he doesn't leave. Scanning the available beers, my eyes come to rest on Knockout. That's the one for me. Addressing the barman, I ask for 2 bottles of Knockout and point them out on the shelf. But the guy grabs the beer to the right. I hold up my hand to stop him. No, sorry, the one next to those, waving my hand to the left. The barman's hand moves across to the left, past the bottles of Knockout, and grabs the beer to the left of them. I stop him again. No, look, there, Knockout, Knockout. All the beers are in double rows, and I lean over the bar to point them out. Knockout, there, look, there. The barman goes back to the beer on the right. No, Knockout, there, look. I lean further over the bar, another 18 inches or so, and I could touch the bottle, but the barman passes them again, veering back to the beer on the left. My feet are off the floor. I'm almost prone on the bar and pointing close enough to leave no room for ambiguity. Knockout, right there, Knockout, that one. Oh. But again, he bypasses the Knockout and gives me a puzzled look when I say no, again. It's ridiculous. It's farcical. I know the names of the beers are in English, but they all are, everywhere. The guy's a barman. This is his job. He does this every day. For added annoyance, the lad who asked us what we wanted before we'd even looked keeps sticking his oar in. I keep telling him to leave it and that we're okay, even though it's evident we're not. But I'm determined to make this bar moron understand, and I don't want or need any help, especially his. But he won't stop. He won't take piss off for an answer. The uber annoying interloper then leans over the bar and points at the rows of knockout in precisely the same fashion as I did and not as closely as I did, while saying something to the barman that I didn't catch. The barman then goes straight for the knockout. Really? How convenient. Yeah, whatever. I'm just glad this damn circus is over. We pay for the beers and we go to leave. But our unwanted assistant wants paying for his unwanted assistance.
Give me a tip,
He says, clearly unaware of whom he's asking such a question. Now you'll be lost on him anyway, so we push past and leave. But he comes right along with us, keeping pace and asking for money.
Give me some money.
No!
Give me some money.
No!
Give me 30 rupees.
No!
I'm a friend. Give me 30 rupees.
No, you're not, and no.
Give me some money.
No!
Give me 30 rupees.
Why? What for exactly? Sticking your unwanted oar in? Not pissing off when requested to do so? Ignoring all requests to butt out? Or was it your whispered instructions to the barman that it was time to stop dicking around with the foreigners and give them the beers so you could exact payment for your help?
Give me 30 rupees.
No, piss off. But he doesn't, and it goes on for a while. But we tough it out, and eventually he gives up and walks back towards the bar. Postscript. 30 rupees is nothing, maybe 35 pence or less. But it's the principle. Mister
Give me 30 rupees.
and the blind barman were scamming us, and what for? 30 rupees. I have to wonder if they were new to the game, as all that rigmarole for 30 rupees split between two is aiming pretty low. They could have slapped that on the price of the bottle, made it a take-out charge, or any number of quasi-legitimate levies that would have netted them more, and we would be none the wiser. Hey-ho, another one for the scam bank. Off Licence to Scam was written and read by Phil Wingfield.